Hello everyone, Gentleman here with another Epic 7 video. For this video, I want to do my absolute best to try to help you guys out. Select your free 5-star RGB hero from the free 14-day login event from the Epic 7 5th year anniversary. Because I know it can be a little bit daunting just looking at the list of all the characters you can potentially select from. And you know, if you're starting the game out, it can be really overwhelming to be like, wait, I can only get one, so which one should I get, right? Which one should help me on my journey? Or maybe you've already been playing for a little while, and you are not sure which characters can help you push forward, whether it's more PvE or PvP content. So yeah, I'll be going very briefly over all these characters to try to make this video go quickly. I'll skim through the characters that you cannot select because they're either limited or they got released very recently, looking at you, Abigail, or simply because they're not good or they're very niche. And I'll instead focus a little bit more on the characters that I think should be worthy of your 5-star summon ticket. But okay guys, if you enjoy this type of videos, please consider liking and subscribing. It truly helps me out a lot. But okay, let's get into the video. Let's look at the warriors first. Abigail, you cannot get her. She is recently released, so too bad. He's limited, you get her for free. Limited, not great. Limited, not great, limited, not great. And Shu. She's gonna be the first character we'll actually take a look at because she's really good. Her biggest thing is going to be activating Fush, which is her skill 2, which penetrates the enemy's defense by 70%. Now, this is a great skill in and of itself, but when you get her exclusive equipment, getting the first one basically allows you to have a 40% chance to activate this every single time you get a critical hit with your basic attack. So that is absolutely nuts. And whenever your skill 3 is on cooldown, whenever an ally gets hit, she has a 20% chance to counterattack, therefore, hitting the enemy with her skill 1, therefore having a 40% chance to activate her push and dishing out massive amounts of damage. So really strong character to consider. I would highly recommend her for both PvP and some PvE as well. Moving on, Lethe, limited unfortunately, limited. You get her for free, not great. And Valencia, she's another really good character for both PvE and PvP. She has fallen off a little bit on PvP just because power creep mostly, but she's great because not only is she a character that, like Shu, scales off of her HP, she's a naturally tanky character that dishes out a lot of damage as well, and one of the few damage dealing characters that actually defense breaks under skill 1. So defense break, one of the absolute best debuffs in the entire game, right next to stunning. So great damage dealing character. She's also acts as a bit of a support by getting rid of all the enemy team's buffs, dispels all buffs from the enemy team, and she grants your team increased defense buff as well. Arunka, very niche, not great, limited. She's good, but I don't know if good enough worthy of your 5-star summon ticket. Sahak is very good, but also very specific to some situations. If you have most, if not all, the characters that we'll be mentioning in this video, he's definitely worthy of considering to use for your 5-star summon ticket. And that's it for the warriors. Let's look at the knights. Not great. She's good, but also very niche in some type of ways. Lilia, she got a lot better thanks to recent buffs, but also very specific to her use in some very specific situations. Limited, brand new unit. I don't think you can get him, but even if so, I wouldn't recommend him. He's just great in expeditions. Crow used to be really good, but now he's just kind of like the backup to your backup knight, so not great. Limited, not great. He's also good, got a lot better thanks to recent buffs, but I do think there should be other priority units on top of him. And now Senya will be the first knight we actually look at. She's really good because she has a lot of survivability thanks to her passive, which gives her increase to critical hit resistance by up to 50% if I'm not mistaken, when you add all this other extra resistance on top of that. So very good because this is going to be a very good anchor to your team. If the opponent is trying to cleave you or something like that, they will have a 50-50 chance of actually hitting her. So she has a lot of survivability, mainly just by being able to resist critical hits. Her other big thing is of course going to be able to provoke the entire enemy team and granting herself counterattack. So hopefully when she does her skill 3, she'll provoke everyone, then they'll be forced to attack her, and then because she has counterattack buff, she'll be able to counter them and then provoke them again and create an endless vicious cycle. So very strong character that up to this date has been very strong, and she's also very decent in some PvE content as well. So I would definitely recommend her, and she looks great, of course. Okay, Yulha. Yulha is another character that I would definitely recommend getting if you have a lot of the other characters we're going to be talking about. She's definitely a more PvP oriented character. She's just there to suck up all the damage that your team is receiving. And once her health is low enough, she's able to basically just take down any one character from the enemy team and just heal back up. So very strong. But also if your opponent team is has only single target characters, they will just avoid her entirely and they'll save her for last. So, also very specific to some type of situations. But okay, that's enough for the knights. Moving on to the thieves. She's limited, not great, very niche. She's great, but has very high gear requirements. And then the first thieves I want to talk about are Peira and Ran. So if you're planning on stepping into PvP either soon or some point in the future, you definitely need to have at least one of these two characters, I would say, because it's a very strong thing to have in your arsenal to be able to take the first turn in a match. And Ran and Peira will be some of the best characters you can have to do just that. Now, I would recommend maybe Ran a little bit more over Peira, just because I do feel like Ran has a little bit more going on, not just in PvP, but also some PvE content as well. So a little bit more well-rounded. He's just a very straightforward character. You build him fast, you build him with damage, he takes the first turn, he defense breaks the entire enemy team, and then you proceed to just melt the entire enemy team right after that. As to where Peira is more of a support first turn type of character, where she debuffs the entire enemy team and then grants your entire team increased attack, and she grants herself a massive barrier that is able to suck up a lot of the damage that your team might be receiving. So two very strong first turn characters that I would definitely recommend picking one of these if you don't have one of them just yet and you're planning on starting your PvP journey. Moving on, we have Seth, not great, limited, very niche unfortunately, so not great. Build rate is mostly just PvE focused, however he can have PvP uses via his imprint. So unfortunately if you only have one copy of him, he's basically useless in this regard, but if you have like 2 or more copies, he can grant your entire team more speed. And that'll be the case with some other characters we can look at in just a little bit. But yeah, that'll be his main use in PvP. Just, slap him on your team, get extra speed, and help you take the first turn. And he also dishes out, of course, massive amounts of damage. So he's a really good character to have if you're planning on going the cleave route. Very strong in PvE as well. And now Violet. Violet is one of those characters where you live or die by the RNG. So very strong in PvE, I would say, because you just throw him in on any team that is going up against water type characters, and he's almost invincible at that point, right? He's countering every time and helping you clear those types of content. In PvP, he has fallen off a lot, and very rarely he gets to solo the entire enemy team. If you're able to lock down the enemy team with a bunch of water characters and you have him on your team, that's basically GG's, right? Like he will dodge every single time and he will dish out massive amounts of damage and he can win you games. But it's very rare for that to happen, with so many characters now available. Those types of situations are more rare nowadays. So I would recommend them again if you already have a lot of the other characters we've been talking about. Just a good character to have, comes in very handy sometimes. But okay, that's enough for the thieves. Moving on to the rangers. Bihu, he's kind of in the middle. He's all about burns, so he might be seeing a lot more play nowadays because of the meta, but also not a character I would recommend for your free 5-star ticket. You get it for free. It's not great. Limited, not great. Limited. Very specific to cleave, so not great. Lua is a very strong PvP character. She's the nightmare of every PvPer in the entire game. Her biggest thing is being able to reset the entire enemy's team cooldowns by 1 turn, therefore just kind of leaving them with their pants down and they can't really do much. I would recommend maybe thinking about her if you don't have her yet and you are starting your PvP journey. You're trying to climb the ranks and everything like that. You already have Ran or Peira or something like that, and you don't have Lua. She's definitely a threatening character that you should absolutely have in your team if you're planning on going the PvP route. She gets banned all the time, so maybe in that sense she's not that great because you might build her and she gets banned all the time. But if you don't ban her and you have first turn and the opponent doesn't ban her either, hey, there she is, right? But okay, moving on. Risa, limited, not great. Command Model Laika, it's good as well in more control type teams, but again, not a priority unit. You can get her later down the line. Now, Asaria is going to be one of the few PvE only characters I would definitely recommend. And this one goes mostly to the newer players in the game. Maybe you've been playing for a month or something like that, and you're still clearing a lot of the story, a lot of the hunts, a lot of expeditions, etc. She's really good. Mainly because of her defense breaks on her skill 3 and skill 1, but also because of her skill 2, where she can reset any skill cooldown of any one of your characters in your team other than her. So very strong PvE abilities that can definitely help you in most PvE situations. She's not great in PvP whatsoever, so if you get her, it will be mostly for PvE purposes. Land is limited, Pebble's not great, kind of fell off. And that's it for our Rangers. Moving on to the mages. Araminta, not great. Very niche, also maybe more high gear requirements than not, but he doesn't get picked a lot. Also, fire type characters are not great. Most of the best characters in the game are either water or some of them are grass as well. So fire oftentimes just gets absolutely destroyed. Alisa, not great. Milim, limited. Politis is very good, and although I just said fire characters are not that great, Politis is just a very unique character because her passive just allows her to cut any combat readiness that your enemy team might get by 50%. So if their plan is to cut you off and take the first turn via combat readiness or whatever, she is your girl. Just by having her on your team, you cut that shit right off and you're able to take the turn. Also, she's able to activate this attack as well. Not only cuts off the combat readiness by 50%, but anytime the opponent uses a non-attack skill, she activates this ability, which reduces buff durations by 1 turn and increases her own combat readiness by 30%. So very strong character and very unique with this one particular skill. And once her turn comes around, she debuffs the hell out of the enemy team. So very strong. Okay, Rowing Mustang, limited. Tenebria, not great. Arya is good, but also very niche to some very specific situations. Dizzy is limited. Ida is very good. You definitely want to pair her with characters that do non-attack skills like Ran. I mean, Ran and Ida go like bread and butter. They're freaking best buds. I use them in a lot of my arena content where I fight not just bots, but you know, the pre-made teams from other people. And Ran defense breaking, and then Ida just taking the turn, soul burning, taking another turn, just destroys the entire enemy team. But by herself, unfortunately, she's not great, very squishy, and yeah, she basically needs someone else to enable her. So again, if you already have most of all the other characters in the game, Ida can be a solid pick if you have someone to pair with her. As soon as one of your characters does a non-attack skill, she gets a massive combat readiness push that basically allows her to take a turn right after that. So strong, but maybe not a priority unit, as I've said with some other characters. Fertil Tenebria, limited. Luluka, really good PvE character, not great in PvP, but also I don't think she's a must-have for PvE. Zeno, you cannot get him. Limited, not great, limited. I think you get it for free. And that's it for our mage heroes. Now, finally, Soul Weavers. All right, we're almost done, guys. Ding ding, limited. Tamarind. Okay, alongside Asaria, Tamarind will be the only other PvE only character I would definitely recommend. If you're starting Epic 7 and you don't have this character, she is the go-to character. She is a must have, okay? So forget any other character I've said to this point. If you don't have Tamarind and you are maybe a couple of weeks, a month in, you don't have her yet, you're still knocking out your PvE stuff, she is the go-to. She is the best, you know, kind of healer, combat readiness pushes, she attacks, buffs you, consistent heals all throughout. Just an overall good character, okay? So if you don't have Tamarind, definitely recommend her to be your pick for the free 5-star summon. Ahmed, very specific to cleave, to, you know, try to win the game first turn. So, you know, good, but not necessarily a priority unit, also more in the niche side type of things. DN is limited. Alina is great, but also not a must-have character. Good to consider, but not a priority. Emilia is limited. Destina will be the other Soul Weaver I would definitely recommend if you don't have her yet. She's a character that can definitely help you in PvE with heals and cleansing and everything, but she's also a very good character in PvP, surprisingly. She's really good because her heals are also able to give your whichever ally in your team that you selected an increase in combat readiness. And if you have an extra exclusive equipment that gives her extra combat readiness push whenever she uses her skill 2, she's also able to help you be more aggressive, right? She keeps up the tempo by pushing your allies up in the turn bar, helping them get more turns. Her weakness is that once she uses her skill 3, which heals all your team and cleanses your whole team, this thing has a very long cooldown. So you gotta be very careful how you use this skill. Okay, Ocean Breeze Lulika limited. Ray is not great. Rana, very niche. She's also niche but unique because anytime the enemy team counters you or does a dual attack of some sort, she heals your whole team. So very strong against characters that are guaranteed to do dual attacks or that are very prone to countering. So very strong, very unique in that sense. But other than that, she doesn't really do much, unfortunately. Sharon, very strong, but I would say she's also reserved to PvP. Her biggest thing is being able to reset skill cooldowns of your enemy by 1 turn. So anytime she does her skill 1, after attacking when the target is inflicted with venom, increases the skill cooldowns by 1 turn. So very strong to keep the enemy team from using their skills if they're able to get debuff with venom. Very strong, but very weak if your enemy team has like immunity type of buffs where, you know, you just cannot land the venoms. Then she's just kind of sitting there, unfortunately. Up next, there's no up next because we are done. Holy moly, damn, that took way longer than I thought. Sorry if this took a little bit longer. I just wanted to make sure I cover why I wasn't looking at some characters, and the ones that I did, I try to highlight at least some of the aspects as to why they should be considered. My biggest advice will be for newer players to get someone like Tamarind or Arya that can help you move on in the game, because the more harder content you can do in the game, the more rewards, the bigger rewards you get, and that just basically helps you reinvest in the game, either via summons or by now being able to build more PvP specific characters, higher gear intensive characters, etc. So it's important to have a very strong foundation at first, and then you can start looking at the higher tier PvP meta type of characters. But yeah, my opinion, Tamarind number 1, Arya number 2 if you're very new in the game. From there, I could suggest someone like where are you? Someone like Valencia or Shu even. Just characters that are very good and safe damage dealing characters. They're oftentimes very easy to pick, not just in PvE, but also PvP, right? Like you just need a safe pick, character that can stay nice and alive and dish out damage. Characters like this that scale with their HP should be very strong. From there, you can go into more secret tech, right? Like Senya, very specific type of character that can survive on her own, very self-sufficient. Yulha, right? So have some secret tech under your sleeve, under your belt, and then obviously more PvP center characters, Peyra and Ran, etc. You get the gist, right? But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this was informative, and hopefully this helped you maybe reach a decision after all. There's a lot of other resources out there, a lot of other guides that help you kind of go through the process of selecting this character. So if you still have your doubts, please, check out other videos, and then by process of elimination, condense your possible candidates to 1 or 2 or 3 characters. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next one. Laters.